This is definitely an up and down story about my time working with Wayne Cochran and the CC Writers. When I got out of high school and moved to Albuquerque, I began to record local bands and did quite a bit of R&B, country, and some rock and roll. But the first big job I got was Lif'e King Records asked me at the age of 28 to produce Wayne Cochran for a new single. They sent me to Vegas to see his show and meet Charlie Brent, his arranger, but I didn't meet Wayne at that time. They decided for us to go back to Albuquerque and cut some music tracks for the song Life's Little Ups and Downs, and take it back and have Wayne sing on it and put the brass on it. Vegas had an 8-track studio run by Bill Porter of Elvis Presley fame. We were going to go into his 8-track studio and we'd transfer my 4-track to that and add the new parts. So Charlie came to Albuquerque and we worked on the tracks, and I believe we used Carl Silva, Arnold Bodmer, and Bob Baring to cut those tracks. And we worked on them for several days, and then we jumped on an airplane late at night and ran back to Vegas so we could get Wayne to hear it and sing on it. I got on the airplane with no money and no change of clothes, just the tapes. And we landed in Vegas about 11 o'clock at night. When we arrived at the airport, Wayne and his wife picked us up in a new Pontiac Bonneville. We left for the Flamingo Hotel, and I was scared out of my wits because Wayne drove up to 80 miles an hour down the strip. Charlie and I were pretty shook up about that. I believe you could say there was tension in the air. The session for the overdubs was the next day at Bill Porter's 8-track studio in Vegas. Before going to Wayne's room to play the tracks, I checked into a room that Lif'e King had reserved for me. I had a terrible headache by the time I got to the hotel. We went to Wayne's room and listened to the tracks, and he said, "I'm not singing that. I'm not singing that." He refused to sing on those tracks. Charlie and I were stunned, and I went back to my room preparing to go back to Albuquerque. When I got to my room, my headache was so bad that I had to have some medicine or something to stop the pain. I thought, well, I just checked into a fancy room at the Flamingo Hotel. I'll go down to the store downstairs and I'll buy me some medication. I went down and gathered up ibuprofen and Alka-Seltzer and everything I could find. And I went over to check it out, and they said, "That'll be $27 and something." And I said, "Can you just put that on my room?" And they said, "Sir, you haven't been here 24 hours. We can't add it to your room until we've checked your credit." And I said, "You're kidding me." And he said, "No, we're not kidding." I laid down on my bed and was just trying to block everything out that had happened, and there was a knock on my door. I got up and I was just, it felt awful. I got up, I went to the door and opened the door, and it was Wayne Cochran. He said, "I apologize for saying I wouldn't sing on that, and I will sing on them tomorrow, and we'll do that tomorrow." And we had a kind of a nice little visit then at that point, and he went back to his room. Right after that, Dexter Schaefer from Lif'e King checked into his room, and I said, "Dexter, I'm dying. I would need some medicine. Can you give me some money?" So he came over and gave me a $100 bill. I went backstairs to the cashier and I said, "Remember that medicine I left here?" I said, "Can you break a $100 bill?" I didn't want him to think I was penniless. I survived the night, and the next day we went to Bill Porter's studio, transferred my tape to 8-track, and it was a tube 8-track, Ampex. And we started doing overdubs with the brass and Wayne. That was my introduction and beginning with Wayne Cochran and the CC Writers.
Did somebody make a fool out of you? Grinning like a madman when he rolled into town, but they'll never